3 Achilles injuries have changed the entire course of the NBA. What is going on in Milwaukee? And why are the Boston Celtics turning into prospectors? It's all right now on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Beantown, be ever ready. It's the C's. Who else could it be? What they gon' say now? Screaming like JT Karalis. Recap the madness every game, every practice. Prime time, Depp and D White on the sideline. Raining J's, how it started, raising banners, how we finished. Locked On Celtics pod, home of the winners.
Hey there, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast, right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every day. Your team is the Boston Celtics, and I talk about them Monday through Friday, all throughout the rest of July, then 3 days a week, August and September, back to 5 days a week after that. So make sure you're subscribed, because this is all free podcasts about your favorite team. Subscribe, watch the show on YouTube, get into the comments section, share your thoughts with me. I'm John Karalis, beat writer for Boston Sports Journal. I've been covering the Celtics for 20 years. I've written a couple of books about this team. I'm here to have a conversation about the Celtics with you. And it has been a wild kind of start to free agency. Later on in segment 3, we'll talk about a more positive spin on the Celtics. The rookies, the 3 rookies that they drafted in the first and second rounds were all available to speak to the media. So I'll share a little bit of what they talked about in the third segment. In the second segment, we'll get to the Milwaukee Bucks and the Damian Lillard. I mean, what a wild day in the NBA for Myles Turner to leave Indiana to go to Milwaukee, Damian Lillard to be done in Milwaukee the way he was. We're talking about those Achilles injuries. Those 2 Achilles injuries to Tyrese Haliburton and Damian Lillard were, talking about game changers, but then the Jayson Tatum Achilles injury might be the one that changed completely everything, because the Celtics, as much as I thought heading into this offseason that, okay, they have to trade Jrue Holiday, made perfect sense. You trade him. Maybe you do that reverse paperclip trade thing that I keep talking about, where you trade him and get a salary like they got Anthony Simons, and you trade Simons and you get less salary, and trade that guy and you get less salary, and you try to save a little bit of money there. We talked about the potential to move Sam Hauser and on and on and on. And I thought you keep Porzingis, you can try to make sure you keep Cornette and or Al Horford, and you have a path to, hey, if Jayson Tatum can come back from his Achilles injury in January/February and maybe be ready to go for the playoffs, you have a team that can be the team that nobody wants to play in the playoffs. The Celtics aren't, apparently, and again, I stress, there is a lot of offseason left. So what's my feeling right now can absolutely change based on whatever moves they make moving forward. However, it has become clear that even if Jayson Tatum can return at some point during the regular season, even if he's 100% ready to go, everybody agrees and he's fine, I don't think the Celtics are going to put a team out there that they feel comfortable just rolling with moving forward and saying, this is going to be a potential team that can surprise in the playoffs. I don't see that as a possibility at this moment. Again, caveat, at this moment. I don't know that the Celtics are intent on putting any kind of team together that's going to make any kind of deep playoff run. This is going to be a tough year. And okay, we have to adjust our expectations, it seems. The Celtics have been basically dumpster diving in Minnesota. They have gone to, like, Minnesota did not pick up options on Luka Garza. Celtics picked him up. The Celtics also picked up Josh Minott, who is 22 years old, went to the Minnesota Timberwolves, said, please do not pick up my option. They honored his request, and he is now landing in Boston. Now, I understand it's a little bit of a disrespectful way to put it. It's more of the joke of the Celtics dumpster diving. The more accurate way, I think, to put it for Brad Stevens is he's prospecting. He's turned into if you want to make that meme of the old, toothless prospector out there in the California gold rush, just dipping his little strainer thing into the river and hopefully mining out a piece of gold that he can take and bring back and get rich. Luka Garza, who knows who he's going to be? Josh Minot, who knows who he's going to be? Minot is the youngest of the guys that they've picked up this offseason, including the 3 guys they just drafted. And Minot's been in the league for a couple of years. He is this really good athlete, a big-time athlete that a lot of people are talking about. Like, he's a kind of a Jaden Springer type, which, okay, yeah, sure. 6'8" plus wingspan, big athlete, came into the league with a reputation of being able to shoot the ball, has only taken 59 3-pointers in 3 seasons with the Timberwolves. The Celtics, 59 3-pointers. That's like a week in Jayson Tatum's career. So this is not a big sample size at all for Josh Minot. He hit 34% of his 3-pointers. So he's a guy that you think, okay, if he can figure this out, there's your prospecting for gold. If Luka Garza can get his shooting down, there's your prospecting for gold. You're looking for guys that aren't getting opportunities on other teams. It's a very different kind of approach for the Celtics as opposed to the building of a potential championship contender as you're hoping to pile up banners, right? You're hoping to accentuate Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Right now, what the Celtics have is Jaylen, who is rehabbing his knee. They have Derek White, who is about to turn 31. And they have Jayson Tatum, who is, putting out the workout videos, but he's got the big boot on his calf, on his foot. And good for him for working out. He looks good. He looks like Jayson Tatum. He was at the practice facility. We saw pictures of him meeting all the rookies and all of that stuff. But it's obvious that the Celtics are not putting a team together right now to accentuate what Tatum and Brown do. Right now, they are looking to strike gold. And it's Garza, it's Minot, it's whomever Anthony Simons turns into. Maybe it is Anthony Simons. It could be, but I doubt it. But it could be. It could be whoever they trade him for. It could be the next guy they trade him for. It's a quest for Brad Stevens to at least say, okay, we're gonna try these guys, and if they don't work out, then you know what? December 15th starts coming around. Maybe even before that, you can start trading guys and say, okay, Garza not working out, he's gone. Next guy in. There are going to be opportunities to sign some guys. Whoever they can find. There are guys that are going to be out there that get cut after trades. Guys that teams trade for and the fit isn't right. There's opportunities to sign more players down the road. So I think it's becoming clear that even if the Celtics turn Simons and George Niang into a good player or a different player, not to suggest that Simons isn't a good player. I know Niang is okay, but he's at the tail end of his, I think, effectiveness in the NBA. There's still a whole summer. There's still a whole season. I think this season is just going to be a bunch of auditions. This is a whole season of America's Got Talent. This is a whole season of like, okay, what do you got for me? Oh, okay, that seems fine. Yes, or you're going to hit the big red X. Nope. You do not belong on the Boston Celtics. Or everybody's going to be like, yes, you move forward. It's going to be a big competition to see which player/players will join the Tatum, Brown, White triumvirate moving forward. It's a gap year. I feel like all of my optimism for the pseudo contender is gone and the gap year is here. And that's all because of Tatum's Achilles injury, which means other teams are seizing opportunities. They're going for it. Not exactly the smartest move, I think, though. What is going on in Milwaukee? The Damian Lillard, Myles Turner situation, shockwaves around the NBA, direct impact on what the Celtics are doing. So we'll talk about that when I come back. Today's show is brought to you by Monarch Money. If you ever wished that managing your money felt easier, it can with Monarch Money. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances, which is really important. Finances are getting more complicated than ever, and this is more than a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, investments, spending in one place. In addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. So you're looking at wasteful spending. Do you realize how much money you're spending on fees for things like delivery? Or maybe you're playing games, making in-game purchases, or maybe you just like dining out and you realize like, oh my God, I've spent this much money on eating. So this can help you kind of track all of that stuff. You can track it all in one place. You can track your spending with your partner. You can manage multiple accounts, multiple investments, all of that stuff in one command center. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNBA for 50% off your first year. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Hop onto that Locked On NBA feed. 2 podcasts covering the league. So on Fridays, you're going to get me and Jake Madison. You got rotating hosts all week long. You've got the afternoon show that is covering the whole league. I mean, it's multiple opinions, multiple takes, multiple viewpoints on a rapidly changing NBA, including Milwaukee, including Indiana. So the theme of ruptured Achilles changes the NBA. They all happen in the East, starting with Damian Lillard, then Jayson Tatum, then Tyrese Haliburton. Crazy. So Tatum's torn Achilles, I think, is the most consequential of them all because it really takes the Celtics' last gasps before they succumb to the second apron, and it turns them into, people are talking about them as a play-in team at this point. I don't know about that yet, but I can't fight that notion either because they might be a play-in team. I don't want to have that conversation yet until the summer is over, but I realistically cannot sit here and be like, well, that's crap because they might be. So Dame tears his ACL, and that wasn't exactly going great in Milwaukee. Tyrese Haliburton tears his ACL. I'm sorry, Achilles. I keep saying ACL. Dame tears his Achilles. Tyrese Haliburton tears his Achilles. Haliburton's just happened. Now the Pacers go from, we're knocking on the door. We were right there. We had a champ. Listen, man, I just want to say, as an aside, the Pacers were there. And the way that Game 7 started, if Tyrese doesn't take that big step backwards, if that Achilles tendon holds, I'm not so sure we're talking about the OKC Thunder as champions. So, but that's just, that's a debate that's never going to be answered. Regardless, the Pacers are done. They're done. Myles Turner, after all these years of talk of Myles potentially getting traded, now he leaves on his own. He goes to Milwaukee. And Milwaukee waves and stretches Damian Lillard to put him to get Myles Turner on the team. I want to be clear about this. That is an extraordinarily dumb move. You take $115 million and that's over 2 years. And 110. And now you stretch that 2 years. The wave and stretch means you double the length of the contract plus a year. So 110 million plus over 5 years. So you have 2 years remaining. Double that. That's 4. Add a year. That's 5. So you're at 20 some odd $1 million in that range. Dead money on your books, dead money sitting there. You're paying taxes on that. That counts against your second apron. You can't trade that. It's never going to go away until year 6. It's incredibly reckless spending. If that showed up on the Monarch Money app, they'd be like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" The Bucks are making their move, and this is the consequence of Jayson Tatum's Achilles. They're like, "Oh, Boston's out? Okay, let's look at the East right now. The Cavs, okay, the Cavs are there, but they're vulnerable. The Knicks, all right, well, they're gonna have a new head coach, and okay, they're signing Jordan Clarkson, and they're signing Gershon Yabusele. They're kind of fortifying their team. They look decent, but vulnerable. We'll see how that goes. You have Giannis Antetokounmpo, who has, for a superstar in a team in flux, he has been incredibly loyal to the Milwaukee Bucks. But obviously, all of the reporting is he's watching it closely and all of that. Because of Jayson Tatum's Achilles, the Bucks were like, you know what? Let's do it. And because of Damian Lillard's Achilles, he's done. And because of Tyrese Haliburton's Achilles, you get Myles Turner. Now, it's an interesting fit because Turner just kind of becomes Brook Lopez. Same idea. Incredible rim protector. Can stretch out to 3. Same kind of vulnerabilities. Can you play him off the floor in a playoff series? Yeah, you can. Part of the reason why we're not talking about the Pacers as champions, by the way, yeah, Tyrese Haliburton's Achilles, but also Myles Turner didn't have a great game 7. So, but Milwaukee becomes the epicenter of 3 catastrophic injuries, all conspiring. Tatum's opens the door. Dame's creates a need. Tyrese Haliburton's creates an opportunity. Boom, boom, boom. The Milwaukee Bucks. Now they've added some shooting. They've added some players. Maybe the Bucks do make a move. If the Bucks win a championship, then, hey, then I'm an idiot, and the people questioning this are idiots. You win a championship. You need some luck. You need some things to go right. You have Giannis Antetokounmpo, who's still one of the best players in the NBA. So if you can get it, if this pays off, then congratulations. Then you can worry about selling and doing all that other stuff later on. But I don't like this move for them. But because Boston is done and done sooner, I don't know. Even if everything else happens, right? Dame's injury has already happened. Let's pretend that Tyrese Haliburton's injury already happens. But Tatum is fine. Do the Bucks do this? Do they still do this? I don't know if they do. I don't know if they go this all in. But the East is very wide open. I don't know. This is going to be crazy. This is such a unique offseason in the NBA. This is second apron finally taking hold. This is the beginning of second apron madness, but also some holdover spending habits from GMs and front offices that are still kind of trying to figure out the real opportunity that exists. This is going to be extraordinarily consequential stuff. I'm not sure how this goes, but I have a feeling that things can blow up in a hurry in Milwaukee. Same thing in Minnesota. So, we'll see. Their teams making moves and spending money. I don't know how this ends up going. There is opportunity, though, for a lot of teams. There's opportunity on the Boston Celtics, and there are a few rookies who are going to try to get that opportunity. They talked on Tuesday. I'll tell you what they said next. So the Boston Celtics introduced their 3 rookies. Ugo. I got to get this right because he was very clear. He was asked about this and he was like, the H, no. Hugo Gonzalez, Max Shulga, and Amari Williams. They were at the Huntington Avenue YMCA on Tuesday. They helped dedicate a newly renovated court. Very nice event. The Celtics do great work. The Celtics Shamrock Foundation does great work renovating and dedicating these courts around Boston. Kids are getting an opportunity. The kids at the Huntington Avenue YMCA have this amazing new court. And this is the tradition for the Celtics. The first opportunity to talk to their rookies is always at the dedication of one of these things. So we got to talk to Hugo Gonzalez, Max Shulga, Amari Williams. Hugo Gonzalez is obviously the first round pick. And so he spoke a little bit. And to be honest here, the guys didn't say a ton. They didn't say much. Gonzalez signed his guaranteed contract. Rookies, for those of you who don't know, rookies are on a set rookie scale. The numbers are all laid out. You can get as little as 80% of what the scale is and up to 120% of what the scale is. We're assuming that Gonzalez is going to make about $2.8 million a year. So, not a ton of money, but it's guaranteed money. So he's going to make that no matter what. He could play every minute of his first season in Maine and never, ever see the floor in Boston. And that's a guaranteed salary that he's going to get. But he did speak and, said some things that I think are kind of like red meat to the to Celtics fans. I didn't get great audio. I can't play it for you, but he said, quote, playing for Real Madrid Academy since I was 10, it was almost like playing for a team that winning was a must every year for every title. So I'm pretty used to team success. It was the first, excuse me. It's the first and the main thing for the whole season. It's nothing that I need to learn. It's something that I already have in my DNA. So I think that's going to help a franchise like the Celtics too. And I hope that it does. So right away, this is a guy that you hear that quote or you hear me read that quote, and it's exactly what you want to hear. He's 19 years old. So I don't know exactly what kind of impact he's going to make. But again, go back to the beginning, the first segment. Brad is prospecting. He's looking for gold. And the gold right now could be at the end of the draft. I'm not saying that it can be something that's going to hit right away, because NBA level is a different, completely different animal than Real Madrid. Real Madrid, he was talking to guys like Serge Ibaka, Mario Hezonja, Facundo Campazzo, Sergio Llull, guys that have been playing in the NBA that got got a real sense of what the league is. Obviously, Ibaka is a very accomplished NBA player. So he's heard from those guys, and he said, they told him, just be yourself, play your game, and you'll be fine. And he's going to come in and do that. He'll have an opportunity to do that. So will Amari Williams. Max Shulga, I don't know. We'll see. But I think Amari Williams will get a chance to prove himself a little bit. Again, prospecting. I should Photoshop Brad Stevens mining for gold or prospecting for gold with the big white beard and the hat, like that alternate Denver Nuggets logo, like that guy mining for gold. Like that's what he's doing. So these rookies, Gonzalez, Williams, those guys are going to have opportunities. We're going to get a chance to see them in summer league, and we'll get a chance to overreact to them in summer league because that's what we love to do. I'm looking forward to that. I want to see what these guys have. Obviously, and I'll say this again, probably 10 times before the summer is over. First of all, summer league starts in a little bit more than a week. Success is less meaningful than failure. Summer league failure means more to me than summer league success because if you're good, you're supposed to be good in summer league. Good players are supposed to play well in summer league. So playing well doesn't tell me much. It tells me you're a good player. Doesn't tell me where you're going to be. Not playing well in summer league makes me think, okay, you've got things that you need to work on because you're supposed to. If you're good, you're supposed to play well in summer league. So we'll see how these guys do. I'm looking for energy. I'm looking for that passing. I'm looking for that up-tempo stuff. The Celtics are looking for guys. They're looking for these athletes. I think there's a common thread in, trading for Minot and in picking up, drafting these guys and, picking up Garza, and you're trying to get guys that can play with a higher energy. That's what Brad Stevens is trying to add to this team. He's not looking for an old, slow team. Brad is constantly trying to reach that beautiful game San Antonio Spurs ideal of basketball. That is, by all measures, and I agree with this, perfect basketball. The beautiful game Spurs with their passing and cutting, ball movement, unselfishness is perfect offensive basketball. They were, I think, one of the absolute standards of modern NBA basketball, of this most recent generation of the NBA. I'm not talking about 80s. I'm not talking about Larry Bird. That's a different style of NBA basketball under different rules and all of that stuff. The Spurs, the beautiful game Spurs, are the standard. They are the absolute template. They are the high that Brad Stevens is chasing. That's his white whale. That is the, that's just what he wants on a regular basis. And when he talks about an offense that went stagnant in the playoffs, it bothers him. I know it bothers him because that Spurs team, that ball movement, cutting, move yourself, move the ball, that 0.5 basketball where you get the ball and you make a quick decision, a quick read. How am I being played? What's the thing I'm supposed to do? Am I supposed to shoot? Am I supposed to pass? Am I supposed to dribble? You take that, what they give you, and you make that read and you make the next right play. The Celtics did a great job of it on their way to a championship. They did a less of that as they fumbled away their opportunity for a second championship. And it's hard. And those Spurs weren't always great at it either. They didn't win 10 championships and they never won 2 in a row. But that's what Brad is chasing. So it's not about the big names, because Ginobili wasn't a big name. Tony Parker wasn't a big name. They became big names after the fact. Tim Duncan was the big name, but the other guys weren't. They became the big names. So that's the important thing. That's what Brad is mining for. That's what Brad is chasing. So what's this season going to be? It doesn't feel like it's going to be anything meaningful as far as wins and losses, but Brad is trying to I think, take this season, find some key players. So when everybody is healthy and ready to go again, he has guys that are here willing to do the things that he needs them to do, to play that style, to play that up-tempo style, and be the team that he's been chasing for forever. He'll forever be chasing. Even if he wins a chance, he finds it, that next season he wants to do it again. And if it's not there, he's just going to keep chasing it. Like, it is a high. It absolutely is a high. He's chasing that dragon over and over and over again every year. We'll see how this goes at this point. And this is the point of the podcast where I check Twitter just to make sure I didn't miss anything, because I see notifications and I want to make sure that there hasn't been a trade. Nope. At this point, we're still waiting for news on Al Horford, so I can safely, as of right now, wrap up this podcast and post it. We're waiting for news. I'm just expecting Al Horford to go. It is what it is. I've resigned myself to that. Thank you, everybody. If you're an everydayer, if you're still with me every day, I love you so much. Thank you so much. Monday through Friday, if you're still with me, downloading this podcast, taking it with you on your walking your dog, going to work, at work, in the shower, whatever it is, or if you're watching the show on YouTube, thank you so much. If you're not an everydayer yet, if you haven't subscribed, please do it and become one. It really means a lot. Getting close to 20,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is a big milestone. So thank you, everybody. Thanks to everybody for pushing that. If you're not subscribed, please do so. Please get there. And then I would love it if you share the podcast. Tell everybody they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast. Here on the Locked On Podcast Network, it's your team every day.